On this week's episode, we will be chatting with Public Health Educator 1, Mr. Marlon Teelucksingh at the Port of Spain Corporation. He will now introduce himself and tell us a little bit more about the roles and functions of the Public Health Education's unit.
Hi, my name is Marlon Teelucksingh. I am a Public Health Educator 1, employed at the Port of Spain Corporation.
Mr. Teelucksingh, thank you for joining us today. Can you tell me firstly, what are the key functions and roles of the Public Health Education Department?
Okay, our role is very dynamic in terms of our role and function within the city of Port of Spain. We basically are here to educate members of the public, the Burgesses, on an array of subject matters. Most importantly, educational material on health educational aspects like what is presently affecting us, COVID-19, food safety, vector control measures in terms of your mosquito eradication programs, garbage reduction in terms of our community health programs. So we deal with a lot of aspects in those areas, school health programs, etc.
Okay. Can you tell me, how did you become interested in the health public education field, and what advice would you give someone who is interested in becoming a part of this field and making it their career?
Okay, well, before I answer that, I would give you a little background of myself in terms of my education. I started off as a public health inspector, worked at the Arima Corporation, and then I was appointed at the Port of Spain Corporation, and I've been here ever since. I've had more than 20 years service as a public health inspector. Our entry level would be coming in as a public health inspector 1, and I rose all the way up to acting public health inspector 3. Of course, you must continue your education. I did several postgrad courses in order to upgrade myself and my skills, and vacancies arose in our own department, public health department, health education department, where it was advertised, and I did apply and did the interview and was very successful in my interview. Actually, I came first in the interview, and I was placed at the Port of Spain Corporation. Advice as to someone want to come into the field, I would say that again, you must be properly educated, have a good love for your job, and a love of meeting people, caring about people, disseminating information. That's what basically it is about.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. What are some of the biggest challenges you have faced since you've been working as the public health educator?
Well, one of the major challenges that I face currently is the fact that due to COVID-19, we are not able to go to the communities and have direct interaction with members of the public. And to me, that is a major drawback. And again, we have to follow the protocols issued by the Ministry of Health, and your social distancing criteria, etc., wearing of your face mask. You know, all those are issues that involve not being directly close to someone that you could actually relate directly to them. Another major challenge we face in our department is the financial aspect, not having enough funds to run our education programs properly, lack of equipment, tools, upgrading training, equipment, printing material, things like that. It's a challenge that we continue to face, and we have to work with what we have as best as we can.
Can you tell me about a health education program or promotion that you have done, and how this has affected or contributed to the Port of Spain Corporation?
Okay, well, again, I would have to stay with COVID in mind, because I came in just about the time when COVID became present and became a pandemic disease. So one of the first things we would have done was produce a COVID-19 fact sheet, right, that we started distributing.
Yes.
It was done both in Spanish and English. However, I quickly upgraded it to a booklet, again, and we had pictograms, etc., on how to wash, clean, sanitize your hands, things like that.
Yes.
And this is widely distributed. This has definitely benefited the Port of Spain Corporation, from our employees to other members of the public, the Burgesses, the business community, the government offices, the police service, the army, all those entities was able to get this shared information that we have tried to promote in our own fight against COVID-19. Added to that, we worked very close with PAHO WHO, and I was able to reproduce their pictogram also, right, on how to wash your hands. I recently did over this one, how to wash your hand, clean your hand also, right? So again, these are widely distributed throughout the city of Port of Spain, again, to the various entities that I would have mentioned before. And again, it is our way of fighting the virus in a very holistic way in terms of contributing to the discussions, and we put across material and information that would sensitize members of the public and the workers at large.
And definitely a promotion that we are very proud of.
Yes. One thing I'd like to mention is that from my knowledge, it's only the Port of Spain Corporation that was able to produce a booklet in bilingual, Spanish and English. So it is definitely a step forward for us in the city of Port of Spain because we lead. And I would like to think that it is something that the corporation should really be proud of in terms of the city of Port of Spain being able to produce this material, and we have distributed it widely, right? And I'd like to just thank the corporation for the support I got from the CEO, our head of department, Dr. Navarro, for giving approval for this initiative spearheaded by our department, the Public Health Department.
Yes, indeed. Can you describe a time where you have worked with the general public or with a co-worker and helped them, and how that assistance, what are the successful keys in working with the public?
Okay. Incidentally, when I was the Public Health Inspector 3 at Vector Control at Terrible St. James, I was the manager down there for probably around 2 years. And I had calls to go to the Transport and Cleansing Department to get some stuff done. And when I was there, I noticed a female employee got a very severe cut on her arm and it was bleeding uncontrollably. I immediately went and rendered assistance by bandaging the hand to stop the bleeding, and I asked that she be taken immediately to the hospital. Of course, they had to stitch her hand and stuff after I got information that it was really bad, and they did stitch the hand and the bleeding stopped and all of that. So that was one aspect where I was able to render assistance. And again, through the training from the Port of Spain Corporation, we had our first aid training, and becoming certified as a first aider, I was able to render assistance. And
what are the keys in successfully working with the general public?
I would think foundation is important. My home training is critically important to shape me for who I am today, and the values that was instilled in me, being a people person and love to render assistance, would have helped me in not rendering assistance. And your personality has a lot to do with how you conduct yourself out there. So it is natural for me to render assistance and to help anybody that seeks assistance from me. Yeah? Okay. Thank you.
What does the public health educator's day-to-day activities involve?
Okay, several things we would do on a day-to-day basis. Planning, organizing, developing, research, field visits, discussions with members of the community, attending meetings, etc. So it's a very packed day, and our days are not the same at any point in time when you come to work, right? We have impromptu meetings several times. Of course, we have a lot of virtual stuff going on now again because of COVID. So yeah, our day is very challenging. I have lots of research to do, so I spend a lot of time on the computer, and we just make ourselves available, as I said, on a day-to-day basis of whatever comes our way in terms of emergency situations that we have to deal with. Yeah?
Yes.
So we are a very unique a unit as you would see.
So, Mr. Teelucksingh, we would like to thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to have this interview with us. And as the norm is with these episodes, I would like to know, what are your favorite, or what is the favorite thing about working with the Port of Spain Corporation?
I would like to thank you for coming to our department to get an insight into our role and function within the city of Port of Spain. As you realize, our unit is very dynamic in terms of our functionality. I personally like working at the Port of Spain Corporation in this unit in particular because it allows me to meet members of the public and disseminate critical information, especially now with the health challenges that we face.
And that concludes this week's episode on Know Your Corporation. Thank you for joining us. Stay tuned to our next episode where we will highlight another department.